It is going to be Skyline to start things off in the hard point, triple vault, and then a Hacienda search and destroy. So hopefully in our next matches we get some protocol control and we get to see how it works.
Yeah. I was going to say, hopefully we get a taste as to see, how that one map will progress and maybe even get further pushed into the rotation depending on how teams figure out to play that map. It's going to be a bit difficult, though, trying to push out from the bottom side of No Man's to the hill. You obviously don't have as many routes to get into P2, but it's still going to be relatively doable. Gleebles open us up here with some first shots, but it's Will who finds the first blood for Eagles CoD. They're going to be the first ones to get some space down towards the bottom of the portion of the map. So as the bar is cleared out, P1 for the side of GSU will be inside of the point. Right now, I believe that we do have colors flipped and the names at the top of the screen flipped as well. So just keep that in mind to the first part as we try to work on that.
It seems like one of the issues that we were talking about and kind of hinting at is that not able to switch those team names as easily. So shout out the observers, gonna have to do it by hand manually for season 2, at least for now. So I don't expect it to be as smooth first and foremost. We do get to see that it is FIU coming out with a little bit of time over towards P1. They aren't going to have the rotation to P2 as well. As you see, Relaxations is 6-0 to kick off this hard point. And he's got the jackal in hand. They got the spawns as well. He's finally cut down, but I mean, for FIU, this is going to be a good rotation.
I was going to say, that's a good kill for Snapple to get on the board. You secure the helicopter spawns, you get that left side of the map in your favor, and you get P2 initial time. So Relations, as he's looking back towards the piano side, Will looks to make that first push forward. They're going to wait for that final player to spawn on up before they make that push into bar. This piano is now cut down from FIU. They look back to the north side of the map. All white in the kill feed at the moment. For Eagles CoD, not feeling too bad. It's a hard hill to break.
It's just clinical from the Panthers for this P2 rotation. Eagles haven't even been able to sniff the hill for now, and it's just been the presence towards the outside. It seemed like GSU really wanted to take control of Piano, push through the kitchen. Nobody went through Catwalk, and they paid for it. They walked into the irons. That's a near full 60 on P2. We don't usually see that too often on a map like Skyline, but for Eagles CoD, they're going to have to really dig deep now on this rotation to P3. But look at this from FIU. They've already flipped the maps that have the better spawns for not only P3, but P4.
I mean, that was just a pretty just complete hold from FIU. I think the thing that stood out to me the most was the fact that they were blocking spawns really well the entire time. And when those pushes came through, it felt like it was one kind of lopsided to one side of the map. It didn't really feel like the Eagles were making it widespread. They were just trying to flood a lane, and they simply weren't winning gunfights. So as we set up on P3 now, first 20 seconds have gone by. Graffiti will snap to 1-3 in a row for himself. Lead will still continue to grow here for FIU, but Graffiti will have to remanage and re-rotate himself back around to the right side. P1 needs to be taken care of, and it will be here in just a moment, but it's 2 for 1 for FIU at the moment as they continue to push their way back into the hill.
Man, that P1 presence for 22 seconds, then they still have been shut out of these hills. 88 playing 38, and there's still a lot of time here for FIU to just continue to grow this lead. Graffiti, Will, and Sketchy still locking down these back spawns for the P4 rotations. They do get a late break for scrap time, and this is where I need to see Eagles CoD get a solid setup and start to slay out for this P4 hill. I mean, they just have not been able to hold these rotations since that P1 was as scrappy as it was. And with this early setup to P4, I need to see it pay off.
Back end push trying to come through. Eagles CoD for the moment have done what they need to keep the spawns in their favor. It's going to be splits out for both of these sides now, but they'll finally secure them in the back end with Will going into 4 in a row. So you look to the bar, you look for a few players pushing down. Nothing on the top end at the moment. This is where you see a lot of teams will try to break on through. Will should have good line of sight on 1 and Will. Break in towards P4 at the moment, but the slide challenge into the showers will be good enough for 6. Shots in the back, now into the corner is Glee. He'll sit there for a moment as FIU try to break in from the back.
I mean, Corbin, this is the issue with Eagles CoD. They get the rotation to P4. They have the full setup, but the lone player in the hill that was soaking up that time gets shot from somebody off of spawn for FIU, and Eagles got no time on that P4 setup, even with players having the closer spawns or the setup towards top bedroom. It was just FIU doing a great job at finding those kills that mattered, keeping Eagles CoD off of that hill and maintaining what is a major lead here on Skyline. And look at this route being ran from Relaxations. He just wants to flip these spawns. He wants to make sure that Eagles CoD just can't get set up safely.
I mean, he made the same route off rip, and that's how he started out 6-0 on the game, up to 5. Once again, make it number 6. He snaps to the second, who's inside of the bedroom, spotted out. Trying to play for that Hellstorm now, so I wouldn't mind if he just kind of played in the back end here for a moment. Should have one up towards the top and spot one out and will. Problem is, though, map still flipped out from both sides. FIU continuing to garner significant time inside of P1. Snowmain up top. looks down below. Snapple in the back end will be able to find one. So the streak shut down for the Panthers. No Hellstorm to be accrued, but still a 50-point lead. 20 seconds of scrap for Eagles to get, and they have to play for these P2 spawns.
Sketchies with a big win there should hold things down, at least for the meantime. There's going to be another one-on-one into the back, and it's Relaxtions, of course it is, to just continue to lay some pressure onto the back spawns here of GSU. Nobody going to be into this hill for P2 just yet. A couple kills that you're looking to pick up, but it's all white in the kill feed. 3 down, make it a full 4. Spawns are flipped in the first 7 seconds of P2 popping, and GSU, they need to figure it out.
Yeah, simply not lovely for Eagles CoD. You're going to fly through the front door, get good timing on Glee, but he escapes through the elevator shaft, and his life is alive. 20 HP to his name. He's going to try and hop back up. Knows that there's 4 players from Eagles CoD in the back end that they need to take care of. He's the first one cut off the board. Relations is able to tag up team for 2. Miggy on the staircase now turns back around and finds the final player into the elevator shaft that should be traded out here in the back end in just a moment. And Relations, who's once again building himself another streak, climbs that lead and keeps it within 60. They should be able to get these last 20 seconds to scrap.
This guy is having relations with GSU right now. It is 161-91. It is just everything for FIU. You can see why this team is 2-0 to kick off CCL this year. And they are flowing so good on Skyline. The subs are hot, and it doesn't seem like there's anything GSU can really do to find some foundation to get a solid setup onto one of these hills. Another break within 3 seconds this time to P3. They have the back spawns for P4 as well. They're going to be able to play these long sight lines towards Barbecue, and doesn't seem like Eagles CoD really putting any pressure towards P1. It's just a full flood from the front.
I don't mind it. I was going to say, for a moment, especially with all the arrows trying to push their way into the bar, I was going to say, hey, you have to just be careful of P1. That cross is so dangerous, especially when the team inside of P3 is holding it, and you're just trying to push all the way through. But they get the teammates to go in. They get the kills on top, so at least they favor themselves for the trades. They'll get this last 25 seconds here. It looks like FIU, they're content with this. They might send 1 or 2 more bodies at this hill to try and play for the scrap time contention, but they've got the entirety of the right side of the map locked down. P2, they've got the entire creddy spot in the back corner, so hey, it's just a matter of time before the rotation is there. But watch for player 5. Will could make the route.
I mean, in the course of 3 hills, Will setting up for this one. Can he find the second one? He will not. The rest of the team trying to get some angles, and Snapple will fall, so it's going to be a race on rotations here. Relations trying to fend off those frontline players, but you can see that some of the members of GSU have snuck into the back. It's Sketchy. He's going to be caught, and now all eyes forward for FIU to see if they can hold down this P4. What I was saying, Corn, over the course of 3 hills, it's only been about 60 seconds of time for GSU. They need this P4. They need it bad.
Steady hold of time for FIU to keep them within 60 points of their opponent. Glee going to go in for the contestation. Will lay down. Sneaking in from the showers. Will with the SMG. Not going to be able to connect onto it. Graffiti in the back line will clean up the final player. Sketchy still holding down the spawn side, but in the cut. Now, little closet, a player will sneak in. They need to be careful, though. From top ropes, Relation trying to make a route through the spawn side once again. Believe they did spot him out, so Sketchy can try to play this from the back end up top. Good time garnered here from the Eagles, but again, just attacking on a little bit here and there, although it's mounting them closer to the lead that FIU have built for themselves. It's not enough. They need a significant hold on the next 2 to 3 hard points to even get themselves a tie game.
I'll say, I mean, after the start that Eagles CoD Gold has, it's still not a losable game just yet. And they just need to get a good setup towards P2, which they haven't managed to garner across 2 rotations, Corn. And it just seems like FIU are just so good at drawing these spawns and manipulating Eagles CoD where they need them to be. As you see another set of kills, you're going to be stuck towards those back P4 spawns, have to move towards the top of this house, and you need somebody to go big, find some kills around, but it's just Eagles CoD not finding any value in terms of slaying right now.
I mean, they're just holding them back. All Eagles CoD were doing was just trying to play those first few picks either towards the top side of bar or down below inside of piano. And the problem with that is when you're stalling yourself out, not being able to make the push, the player inside the hard point's uncontested. He's just laying down, keeping his life. And if it's a 1-player gunfight that he has to take against it, he wins the 1v1. They're going to do exactly what they did, get significant time off of it. So now it's going to be a dash to the piano. If you're Eagles CoD, you really have one opportunity here to break the backside of P2 for spawns. And there's really nobody across the map right now, but they're going to spawn close. It was player 8 who made the route, and Graffiti actually got Eagles CoD spawn. Okay.
Hold on to Glee. And he's spotted, so there's the break in. Eagles a chance to completely switch things around. Snapple's gonna fall off the map, so again, FIU slow on this break. You can see a couple kills, and GSU could solidify this one here. Relations gonna look for a route 39 and 18. He's gonna go all the way around to Platts, see if he could just be a nuisance back here and allow his team away in.
It was enough to hear the stat line out loud. My God, when you look at it, he tags up. EKIA's probably got over 50 at this point. Tries to turn back around as the snow main push is going to be thwarted from FIU. They're going to hold down time. 20 seconds left to be able to take this win here. Graffiti on the high. Sense will be able to snap and dodge to cover. Will on the double pushes through, but Relations gets himself to 40. Still time for FIU. They're going to have to play the rotation here, but with about 10-15 seconds left, it's pretty much all done and dusted unless Eagles CoD can hold a phenomenal P3.
That's going to have to be 4 down again and again. As we will be heading to P3. First one's in will be the Panthers. You can see a long flank coming out from Will. A couple kills from GSU. And there's the break in. So now the setup. Can they win it out? 9 points is all FIU needs. So Eagles, they just cannot afford mistakes.
They're trying to play from piano. Glee, the one that was trying to set up the pinch, falls, and now Relations, the last alive with 36 HP. Maybe a bit aggressive, but gets the snap chow onto one. Behind the bars, the last player remaining, and Relations makes it stick. Almost goes for number 3, but Sketchy remains himself alive, and inside of the point, it's still a contestant heavy point. Glee with 2, Snapple with 1, 3-1 trades, and the final player, once again, needs to be Will to go for maybe 2 to 3 kills. 6 seconds left. One more push here from FIU as they try to dart their way forward. Snowmain falls. Relation gets up to 45. It's 3 dead, and the final nail in the coffin. FIU take map 1.
And that was a lot more competitive at the end than what we expected after the first set of rotations. Relations, he was having his way from start to finish, but the rest of the team just allowing Eagles CoD chances one after the other to just grow their time inside the hill. I thought for a second in that third set of rotations when they had the 4th hill rotated to, I thought that was their chance for Eagles CoD to actually close that lead, but I mean, FIU just did enough to keep them behind Corn, and you see towards the end, they just needed one good break at P2. It sent things into chaos for GSU. P3 rotations, they were the first ones there with 9 seconds. I mean, you just cannot, you can't expect GSU to really pull that one back with the difference that it was.
Yeah, no, you can't. I mean, look, give Relations again the flowers for that map.
100%.
I wasn't sure what it was going to be after the first, 6 kills went through. I was like, okay, 6-0, we got a good start. And then I was like, are we going to stay hot? Are we going to fall off a little bit? And then it was 18-6. And then the next time you said something, I think you said about 39-14 or something like that. And I was like, okay, this guy's kind of legit. So let's talk good. So Relations, great addition to the FIU roster, I would have to say. I think most people would agree with me in that stretch. But pairing that with Snapple, pairing that with Glee, and pairing that with Mingy as well. I mean, Mingy. It was a fun game to watch. I'm not gonna lie. Eagles CoD played the hard point decently well in the second half. I don't think I can say really much about that first half. I think it was pretty much cut and dry, as we said it beforehand. One of the keys to success, having to win a hard point out. But I think you hit on it well. You mentioned in the pregame, like Georgia Southern, a couple new players that are going to be joining up with Sketchy, with Will, and to make this team have a chance later on in the year, make some deep runs. And those growing pains are still evident in the hard point mode. I think they definitely played that a little bit better and closer than they would have last year with the roster they had.
And I can imagine, Alex, that, you look at a team that is maybe half of them aren't used to playing, competitive respawn. No. You have a player like Relations who's just running rampant across Skyline. That's a little bit jarring off the gates, and you saw that they were getting a little bit more used to it towards the end of that hard point. So maybe going into the next respawn in the control, you bring this back into the search and destroy, tie things up, and then that control, you're more aware of the capabilities of players like Relations. We could definitely see Eagles CoD turning things around in this series. It's just, it really comes down to kind of understanding the routes that he can take and making sure that you have a player that is actually communicating, watching for that, and locking it down. So I think you're going to a vault for the next 3 maps. This is something where you definitely look at a sub like Relations is going to look to be the difference maker. So if Georgia Southern can look at that, shut it down, you can see the series potentially turn around, because other than Relations, I feel like it was a very winnable game for GSU.
I was going to ask you too, like in a search and destroy with a player like Relations, what he did on the Skyline hardpoint that we saw was just disrupt the spawn side or disrupt the push by playing an off angle or getting lost on the map. And that's a very hard thing to be able to counteract if you don't have crisp and concise comms. If you're not being able to know what's not being picked up at a given moment, you're going to get thwarted in your backline. And that's what Relations picked up on early on and really didn't stop the whole game. Just asking you kind of like person to person on a map like a map like Vault for Search and Destroy, how do you pick up that lane that somebody maybe isn't watching or know that Relations is going to be in the backline and be able to counteract that player?
Well, obviously on attack, I mean, you're going to have somebody sitting towards P2 with that AR. making sure that you're watching those routes, see if somebody's going to flank, try to pick up some kind of aggression that those defenders are going to be looking to flip the map on you for. But you know, it's going to be tried and true for Vault. You go to A, you stack the zone, or you stack the site, you get the bomb down, and you try to play 4 corners or maybe catch some kills on towards the outskirts of that Vault. But other than that, I think it's the defense that you're going to be struggling on if you're a GSU, and, you know, trying to kind of almost mimic a player like Relations in that sense that you need to be the one aggressing, and instead of, you know, Relations trying to get aggressive in your face, you imagine he's going to be very more team oriented in this search and destroy. He doesn't need to be the one to kind of push that issue. So I think, you know, GSU, you kind of have that understanding on Volt these days, what to do on attack, but when you switch to the defense, it's just who's going to be the one to really pick up that SMG and try to almost be that Relations for your team. Get lost, get aggressive, and see if you can flip that map, find a few kills, go rogue.
I was gonna say, kind of like to counteract that too, like going into a vault or like search and destroy, as much as having that player to get lost and go rogue, you know, you also have that caveat of like, what if that SMG is pushing up the map and you're getting caught bad timing every gunfight that you're going into? You get an AR holding a lane, or you have a sub sitting in a corner that you're just maybe not quite expecting, those things can also thwart a player like Relations. So I think in that regard too, I think that's also a good like kind of like kryptonite caveat to that play style. It's something that Eagles CoD could be able to pick up on. But I do agree with your point where I think in terms of slowing the pace down just a little bit for Relations and being able to play with the team, that's kind of what I want to see if this FIU Panthers roster is capable of doing. Because, you know, you can go into a Skyline hardpoint, whether it's a league match, whether it's a rank play match, whether it's, you know, top end challengers or the CDL level, you can kind of just run around the map and get lost at times. Like, there's still going to be little split moment plays that you need to make that are going to be the correct plays. But again, it's a mixed map, and that's what we just kind of, you know, preface everything with when we talk about even a vault, right, for hardpoint or control. But a lot of that does boil down to the fact of, A, are you going to be able to be a versatile team? Do you have the capacity to be able to rein in a player instead of have them going rogue every map? Because from as quickly as you saw them be able to take a hardpoint because of that, it can completely destroy your S&D pushes. And this is something a bit more unorthodox here. We're going to be hit right off the rip.
I was wondering if we were going to maybe get a B hit here, because a player like Relations who has that confidence to maybe head an attack like this can just pick up these lanes and see if you can, again, look to disrupt. He's got a player through mid, Graffiti with the shutdown, and he's going to look to escape, has some assistance as well. So FIU don't want to chase just yet, and where you're looking at GSU to really shut down this aggression. They do exactly that by snuffing out a B hit right away. But Mickey looking to see if he can maybe catch some timing on a flank.
Always hard trying to hit B. Even one AR can pretty much call out to the rest of the defense and be like, hey, they're hitting out. All I got to do is just kind of hold pre-aims and make sure nobody can slide on through.
He's open.
For the bomb is rotated back to A. They should be able to get this down. You can see player A playing through middle map. Wants to try and maybe drop down into vault here in just a moment. Sketchy looks like he's going to take the bait here. Pushing his way through. Biggy's going to get some bad timing, but shots go wayward. 40 seconds left on the defuse. Now Graffiti looks to Snapple. 17 HP will stay alive. And a slide challenge in from the AR from Sketchy. Good lord, Miggy gets put down.
Now Snapple. Bomb planted. 31 seconds. As he has the power position to put this one away. Nice shots on the first one. Pistols out. He's running. Gotta hop that defuse. And there's just no chance he lets you get away with that. A 2v1 shutdown from Snapple in the post plants, and FIU, they get thwarted at B, but they slow things down and they bleed it back out to a victory in round 1.
Perhaps feeling a bit good to try and take that gunfight on the bomb head glitch towards top bombs after he slid in to get the one. But I mean, moments like that from Snapple, gonna win you games. Wins the gunfight close. And now they look at a 1-0 round advantage. So, Eagles CoD on the offense this time. Probably going to play a bit more status quo. Hit it over towards A. Nades and Stuns going to be thrown up towards top cat. 3 men are going to hit down towards the vault side. And you're going to have player 7 on the outside. But Sketchy will pick up the second. A Snowmain also able to find one. So they go 2 for 1 on the opening break. 15 seconds off the clock. Now looking to get the bomb down.
If they want to, they can actually like fully wrap this to B. It's wide open. They're going to get the bomb planted at A. You got Will towards vault doors, so at least you have a little bit of a post plant towards the interior of the site. But Snowman's actually just going to take it into his own right. Just jumps right from catwalk, makes it a 1v2, and Georgia Southern evening things up 1 apiece with a successful offensive win, just barreling right down the middle of the map.
Not much you can really do to stop that, unfortunately, on the defense. You don't realize there was a player playing top pool. You get traded quickly. You're able to slide right back on to get the retake. So, for the most part, for FIU, kind of got to think about, okay, next time on defense, what do we want to do a bit differently to counteract that A push? You're getting a feel for the map here early on, though, so it's not too big of a deal if you lose one or two early on, especially given how strong offense can be on Vault. Now back to offense. It was a B hit last time. They're going to try and wrap this one over to A.
Now, Relations looking to play alongside his teammate. Miggy's going to play aggressive on this angle. Nade stuns, no trophies to catch them. Relations down to 28 health. Fortunately enough, nobody from GSU going to be able to get Mixie in this one, and he's actually going to get caught by Glee, so that should be the go-ahead to get this bomb planted.
They knew there were two there, but they danced around long enough to allow the players to push up on offense. So, with the pool side strictly in the favor of the Panthers at the moment, the back line now cleaned up from Snapple. It's a 2v4, Sketchy and Graffiti, the last two. Graffiti might be able to get good timing on a Snapple and will. Good shots from Sketchy on the help on the opposite end, but they don't realize that somebody's up above. Glee will escape with his life with 54 HP. And in a 1 versus 3, this feels almost impossible with the way that you have to try and command the map here. Good snaps back from the Panthers. They'll go up 2-1.
And that's just good coordination between Snapple and Glee to control the top side of the map. I mean, as soon as your teammates get in towards A and you find a kill inside catwalk there if you're Glee, I mean, that's the go-ahead to set up that post plant, get that bomb down, and make sure that Snapple is just controlling the backside of P2. And Snapple does just that. He picks up the flanker. You have a crossfire between the two. And there's just GSU have to go above and beyond to win those gunfights with how tough it is to rip them off those headies. So that is some solid search and destroy right there from the two players off site.
Stun check across the catwalk. One's going to push straight forward. Will open with the first blood. So immediately you put yourselves to the man advantage. Not even 10 seconds had elapsed off the clock. Relations will turn back around. I think he spotted one out towards top window and should have on the hop. Another kill comes through. Good bait from Miggy there. Now you have 38 seconds on a retake to try and find these last two players and the player out by pool.
Is anybody you want? It's going to be Miggy and Relations, the way that they played that map number 1. But first and foremost, you have to make sure you pick up this player towards P2 and Will. He will be caught by Miggy. So 2v2, 22 seconds. Both players stacked in sight, looking for some early damage to slide through. And Miggy just not ready for it just yet. The team kill and the nade shuts it down, and before you even have a chance, you just blow yourself up.
I feel like I didn't even blink, and I still don't know what happened. I saw the nade come out there through the door there, and yeah, it was the Georgia State nade from Graffiti that actually hit the pool side, and that's what killed Relations. So I don't know if there was necessarily a team kill there. I think the grenade just ended up finding the last remaining player because of the weakness. So
he stuffed his gun in his back.
He might have, yeah. Solid back shots, though, lead us to a 2-2 game into round 5 on the offense for FIU and the Panthers. I mean, I'd have to imagine they probably bring this one back over to A, but instead they surprise us and they hit it out towards B. They like this site, but at top art, you have to clear that out. And if you can't get that first pick off that player top art, I mean, you're just stuck on this side of the map. You give so much pressure to the defense.
I mean, it's going to look to work, though, as you got Miggy looking to control mid. But he's going to get caught out, so first blood traded. Glee's going to keep some advantage, at least for numbers there. You still have a player top art, but there's a lot of pressure on Graffiti to make some plays, and he is just trapped in the Bermuda Triangle. That is FIU players. Snapple gets the information. Glee's going to finish it up. They know Sketchy's up top, and I thought he was just going to beam him out of that window. 1v3. Sketchy is known. 19 seconds. There's no way that FIU give this one up.
I struggled to understand what the play call there was through middle map, because I saw Graffiti, he was playing that mid door, and I don't think he wanted to challenge the AR at her palms, which I respect. But if Sketchy's up top and he has the comms like, hey, somebody's at her palms, if you're Graffiti, especially after the shots come in and he gets down to about like 13 HP, I think he had, you have to get that call to slide out through the mid door there and at least try to pick that player off to give yourselves a 2v2. And so like that's little moments like that where I think the comms just need to be better from Georgia Southern. Things that can progress and get better throughout the year, yes. But moments like that can win and lose you games, and or at least give you a chance to be able to clutch up a round. Instead FIU, though, they'll take the lead up 3-2, and now it's just back to A in a bully ball game.
Reliable, you know, and push comes to shove. Relations doesn't see Will. That is a rat corner if I've ever seen one. Door giving him so much cover, and with bomb down and numbers, this is a good spot where GSU can continue to keep this back and forth going. Glee looking to hit a little bit around the world, but soon enough he's going to realize nobody's in P2, and only person that is off-site is going to be Snowman hitting a flank towards up top, shoots Snapple in the back, looking to just buy some time for the rest of the team to solidify inside of the hill.
Yellow card from Snowman there. Miggy spots one in the vault, should be able to get the drop on him and will. 2 versus 2, 15 seconds left, not a lot of time, but a nade could weaken one or two of those players up. Glee trying to push from the opposite side is able to walk away with one. 1 versus 1, 8 seconds left, and wisely Sketchy will just dip off the site. Miggy might have gotten there in the nick of time, should be able to win the gunfight and will. Uses the head glitch to his advantage, but unfortunately not enough to take the round. So after the A site was hit out by Georgia Southern, they were able to get that all the way through to the end, and the timing goes good for Sketchy. 3-3 in the search and destroy. Colin, this feels like a vault search.
This feels like a vault search if I've ever seen one. I wonder if FIU go back to the B site again, because it's weird the way that they've been playing it, as they want to just full send the bomb for at least the carrier does. You set up a player towards outer palms, and you send somebody in towards the mid doors, and that's really where you get your control to at least box out those defenders. But they're going to go back to A. Maybe he's going to find 2. And, I mean, this is the round done.
Yeah, help down below. 5 in a row. Make it number 6. Why not? Miggy go for all 4. I mean, he's got all of that timing as on the drop. I thought for a moment they might have lined up, but they did not. About a standard of a hit that you can possibly have here on Vault as we send a couple down towards A. Miggy cleans up those defenders trying to get into that bottom site. But really all for none. Interesting. Thought they said they reduced bullet penetration through walls. It might be faded.
They said so, but they say a lot of stuff. They do say a lot of stuff. So.
Hey, I'll give them credit, though. They at least fixed Ninja from what they said in the patch notes.
Yeah,
so, I mean, hey, no more spectator sound whoring, so that's phenomenal.
And if you guys really want to hear us walking around the map, you got to crank those headsets even further. And that is cheese.
Turn the EQ on, brother.
Turn the EQ back on, maybe. Or don't. I'd prefer if you didn't, but...
I would too.
GSU need to find themselves an attacking round. Will some early damage on Relation. Still walking away with a kill, but Sketchy and Will looking to answer back 2v2. And look at this setup coming out from number 2 on the map. Glee has full control of the top of poolside. You need this if you're Snowman, and that could be your way back into it. 1 versus 2. Glee all the way over towards P2. B site is open. You have a chance to set up in towards top art if you really want to.
And Snapple just didn't have time to reload the aim, so I had to challenge with the pistol. Lee gonna play in their vault. Ah, this is like the one spot you don't want to be right now. Because you've got a player bottom art, you got a player top art. They're just gonna be looking over you. He's trying to find every bit of information that he can, but at least knows where these 2 players are. So if you ego chow the one on top art, maybe you're able to get 1 and then try to force a 1v1 out the other way, but there's just so many lethals and tacticals that they have. Headshots were good, but the shot's shaky towards the end. Eagles will tie things up at 4 apiece. Smart ramp over towards B. Give them top art control.
Gotta think, you win a defensive round here. You might win the whole map. So, whoever cracks that code probably going to be looking to either tie this series up or take us to a 2-0 difference. It's, I think for GSU, really important to see how they really adapt going to this defensive side. If FIU do make that B play, you need to see some more aggression coming out through mid. Like you said, trade those players out. Get the player off the bomb. Make sure that it doesn't get planted as the post plant at range is set up. If it's going to A, which it is, don't drop down mid. Don't give up those kills to Miggy.
I think they learned their lesson, Colin, because they did not challenge it this time, but there are 3 players from FIU down inside of the vault. Bomb is yet to go down. Should hear in just a moment. I think they're trying to find maybe a pick or 2 off the board before they get this going.
I want to see a full collapse onto Glee. If you get him off of P2, this is a better chance, and that's exactly the first step you take. So numbers now, it's trade battles that I'm looking for inside the hill. Not 1 by 1 all together, same time.
Relations weakened up. Trade at 3 versus 3. Here we go. Everybody trying to fly on in. It goes back and forth. It's a 1 versus 1. Snapple versus Sketchy. Sketchy, good shots, and he makes it stick. Eagles will put themselves on match point after a wonderful break back. And Colin, you called it out perfectly. Glee cut down from the top side of pool, and everybody else just wins the trade battle for Eagles down below. That's pretty CoD.
That's a defensive round win that we see from GSU, setting them up for a chance to put this map away and tie us up in the series. And everybody just sending themselves in, setting up Sketchy to be in the right spot to line those players up. It was a 1v2 at the end. I was a little bit scared. I saw a whole lot of FIU, not a lot of GSU, but Sketchy comes out and wins it for the team and really setting them up here on Vault. But for the attacking side, can they put it away here? If it goes around 11, might not be feeling as confident.
Where will FIU decide to push? It looks like they just want to break and bust out all the way to the backside of P2. But there is a player watching it. Will in the back end with the SMG would probably prefer to have an AR in his hands at the moment. But Miggy at 11 and 6 looks back down below. Miggy cut down Graffiti. Is able to find one. Snowman able to find the second. 4 versus 2. For the map here for FIU, they need a break on back, and they find Will in the back end. 2 versus 3. Lots of time to play with, but they need to break back down inside of the vault. Are they going to be able to do it to the pool side? It doesn't look like the answer is yes. I think they might be just trying to make a pinch on this.
Snowman's just waiting for the information to jump. He's playing outside as well. He's going to get the shots in the back, and now it's down to a 1v2. Snapple's last alive. 1v1, 11 seconds, but he doesn't know where to look. And GSU tying us up in the search and destroy. They take the defensive round. They get to 5 first, and offense, that A site tried and true. They get those first bloods, they get the bomb down, and they do not give FIU a chance back into this game. What a phenomenal last 2 rounds from Eagles CoD Gold.
The last time through was Sketchy, who made the sprint out and tried to play the timing. Snowman this time was just trapped in the corner. Snapple, it was a 50-50 guess that he had to go with, either to the right or just straight ahead. Blood's pumping at that point. You got 12 seconds left. You don't have time to really think about it too much, so it's just one of those gunfights where if you pick the right way, you might give yourself a chance. Unfortunately, though, does not pick it. Snowman clutches up for Eagles CoD, so we're tied up at 1 apiece in this series. It was just back and forth for the first 8 rounds, just solid handshakes all around. And then 9 and 10, defense and an offense for Eagles CoD allow them to go up 1-1, win it 6-4. And now we have ourselves a series. It didn't look that close in the first hard point with the way that Eagles CoD were playing it, but we knew that coming into the series. Last year spoke loud, even just from very plain statistics on a sheet of paper, or a Google spreadsheet, if you will. They were not good at hardpoint. We knew it was a Neslo series, most likely, if they were going to take it, but things can get better and progress throughout the year. So, FIU, I don't really feel too much of a certain way about this team right now, to be honest, Colin. I think that's just good, solid maps from both of those 2 teams going into this vault control. I think both teams have a good shot. I don't want to necessarily put it at 50-50, but we'll let the bettors in the chat go off about it.
Yeah, I mean, what did I say at the start of the Search and Destroy? You shut down relations and you just open up a whole new world of the series when he's just not running around gunning you in the back. You actually have chances. And you see Snowman and Graffiti were kind of picking up so many routes. You even saw Will getting aggressive at time, and they were trying to almost, I'd say, replicate what Relations was doing to them back in map number 1, but with more success. You saw them slow it down, find those corners, find those power positions, and get in behind, catch FIU off guard, and it just didn't seem like the communication was really there from the Panthers in the Search and Destroy. I saw more coordination and communication from GSU in round 9 alone than I did in the entirety of that Skyline hardpoint. So going into this vault control, it seems like, you know, maybe those being on stream jitters are completely shaken off for Eagles CoD Gold, and they're ready to turn this series back around.
Well, one can only hope that the side of FIU can be able to put themselves back up on the top end of things. I will say this. You've had 2 maps go down. We're guaranteed at least to get to a vault hardpoint. Take a break. Step aside. When we come back, we'll see who will take that series advantage yet again. FIU, Eagles CoD, don't go anywhere. You're watching day 2 of the CCL in week 2. Decent series so far. FIU took map 1. Eagles CoD bounced back in the Search and Destroy. Now we go back to a vault control for map 3 to see who will take the advantage going forward in this best of 5 series. Week 2 of the CCL has shaped up to be pretty good. We've had some teams yesterday who got up to a 4-0 start. Teams that might have floundered after their hot 2-0 or 3-0 starts that are now 3-1. Or maybe you're at the bottom of the barrel at 0-2, 0-3, or 0-4, and you're looking to turn your season around. Luckily, neither of these 2 teams meet that fate just yet. FIU look to stay undefeated and perfect on the year. Eagles CoD looking to take down a divisional opponent that they bested last year after a forfeit win. And look, let's be candid, Colin. The respawn didn't look great. They didn't look too really connected in that first map. But that search and destroy, they looked a lot better, a lot more fluid.
Yeah, there's just a lot of moments in map number 1 where GSU were being broken within the first 3, maybe 7 seconds of a rotation that they were looking to lock down. And that just goes to show that it just seems like maybe some communication is off. Nobody's watching the right lanes, and they're allowing players like Relations to just get lost on the map and make those high impact plays and really open up routes for the rest of their team to just flood on in. So, I mean, going into Control now, it's going to be different for sure, especially, you know, Vault Search and Destroy looked a lot more, I'd say, put together for Eagles CoD. They were able to at least shut down Relations in that map number 2, and I think going to Vault Control, it's going to be quite similar, although there are kind of areas in this map to get lost for a sub. There's less than a Hacienda or a Protocol or a Skyline hardpoint. So it's going to be very telegraphed when Relations is trying to run these routes, go through mid or catwalk, or try to play in towards that vault. And I think that Georgia Southern are going to have a lot easier of a time dealing with that than they did in map number 1. And the big question is that, you know, when Relations isn't that big high impact player, who's going to be the player on FIU to take his place, maybe assist him in that one? And, you know, we've seen Miggy at times in that Search and Destroy really have big plays, or, you know, Glee and Snapple were oftentimes playing towards the outside of pool and trying to assist on that post plant, but none of them really had the same impact that we did saw from Relations in that map number 1. And I just need to see some assistance on him, with him. For map 3, if FIU want to continue to hold the lead in this series, because Georgia Southern in general in that map 2 looked very put together. The communication was good. They were sharp. A lot of players looking to get aggressive. Snowmane was looking disgusting with that Jackal in his hand, looking to play that third SMG on the map. And it looks like Will, you know, in map number 1 and map number 2 just has no fear when running these routes. So you know he's going to be that one trying to make those plays like Relations is. So heading into this Vault Control, yes, the Skyline was a little bit one-sided at first, but the Skyline was getting close towards the end corner. So I don't think this Vault Control is going to be as one-sided as that map number 1 was.
I don't necessarily think it will either. I do want to kind of preface what I'm going to say next with the fact that I think Eagles CoD are playing decent. I just don't want them to get stuck in the trap where they are a team that has to figure out the other team early on in the game and then go down early and then have to try to scrap things together late.
You're right.
I feel like that's what happened in that Vault hardpoint, where like things got close towards the end, but there was never really a time where that lead eclipsed or rather where they got that lead within, you know, more than 50, 60 points. It was always kind of that gap that was held between the two of them. So when slaying came down to it, FIU were clearly on the top board over Eagles CoD in that map 1 and Control. That can be all it takes sometimes to win a round. First and foremost, though, Will be the first one to fly across the catwalk. He'll open with the first blood and survive with 7 HP. Relations tries to trade one out back over towards the pool side. Should be able to snap back around. Unfortunately, though, shot's not good enough. Still 2-2, though, as we go across the board. 28 lives apiece, 15 seconds off the clock. Not quite enough for that first tick of progress on it.
No, and Eagles CoD starting off on the attacking side. First segment should be a lock. No cat control, though, so Mickey's going to have a chance to at least shut down that second one, as now he's looking towards those respawning players. A couple kills for FIU now to find some stabilization on the defense, and this is where you got to be careful if you're GSU not to get caught in that spawn trap. Miggy's 4-0 to kick things off, almost like what we saw from Relations in that map number 1, but he's going to go down, and the rest of the team is here. GSU still struggling to break the spawn trap.
I was going to say FIU, if they get that pool control, it could very quickly spell the tale of Eagles CoD in this first round. Slide challenge across from Will with the sub up close. Again, Snapple will at least be able to break them out a bit, but they still got some work to do because Miggy's pushed up inside of the middle of the map. Nade's going to force one to back off for a moment. Will won't be able to challenge, but Karehi will slide challenge toward the right side. So in the close side, back over towards B cut. They're looking to get that second tick of progress started on A. They're going to be about halfway through it. On 5 in a row, though, is going to be Glee before he's knocked down. 3-1 trades go the way of Eagles CoD. They should be able to stack this here. This might be the A zone gone.
Right, Graffiti got lucky there. The Semtech sketches the player towards Catwalk, and now you got a full stack on A. That third segment should be gone in a moment, and you got a second lease in towards this round. If you're GSU, you had a spawn trap on you for a second, but now you have a chance to go over towards B, only down 4 lives. So This is a map where if you get 4 down on the attacking side, you can nearly set up a spawn trap of your own, especially if you get somebody in towards top art and you start spawning those defenders over towards P4s. So FIU, albeit it was a great start to the round, you're still walking on thin ice.
Takes a lot to be able to break out of a spawn trap on the offensive side. FIU felt good about it after they were able to get out, get on A, extend that clock to an extra minute. They had one from the back line, which was Will, trying to play maybe for P4, the backside of Art, to disrupt what the defense was holding on. Miggy snapped to the top side. Snowman absolutely ripped off the back end of ammo. And the final player that was pushed up across the map and Sketchy will get knocked down. So you got 3 lives remaining against 13. 30 seconds left in a middle map. You don't check the left-hand corner. That's going to do it for the round.
Yeah, 23 seconds. Not even going to come into a factor here. 1v13. As you know, Graffiti, you had a pretty decent map number 2, but I don't even think King Scump could get this one done. Maybe Prime, but not on a vault control.
No. There's simply too many bodies.
Yeah.
But hey, credit where credit's due. FIU come out, win the opening break, force Georgia Southern to take a pretty hard loss when it came to the lives early on in the round, fighting at a disadvantage, even breaking out and getting that A zone. You're still down on lives throughout the rest of the round, trying to push an uphill battle. Can't really get into the vault. They had that locked down. The entirety of the B Street also knocked off. Miggy was pushed up in the spawn, trying to do what he could, and Relations is back up to 5 in a row. So
yeah,
you're looking for streaks potentially on the side of FIU. Panthers might have utility for later portions of this control, but obviously first and foremost on this offense, got to try again on A.
Still some respawn issues, it seems, for this team. As off the break, it is just split kill feed all the way down. Relations finds his 6th. Still a little bit of a ways away from that Hellstorm, and you can see that there's some work to be done off those respawning players. You can see both teams just trying to have that last player look for some kills off of either side's respawns. Nothing's going to come up, though, for GSU, as it's another split for FIU. They get in towards the zone. It's going to be stacked, and now Sketchy, who has to make the break. He's going to find the player inside. Can he find 2? Oh, Glee gets gunned. And Eagles CoD still have a player looking to slow down this progress.
I mean, there was only one player after they got 3 down that was on the site still. They could have put 4 bodies on that, looked up towards top, and probably got the entirety of the A zone. Instead, Relations just tried to play around by the B cut. And really nothing came out of it except for that first tick. So sure, now you have everybody back in middle map. Now the stack can commence, and you should be able to get the second and third tick without really much contention from Eagles CoD, as they're still coming off that left side spawn. But as you push back up the map, this is going to be the hardest part, trying to break out of view. Still the A zone not off.
Yeah.
4 lives of separation. Sure, FIU's up, but Snowman's up top. They'll be able to shut it off.
Yeah, still segment being captured. You got to drop down to this one. Now, only a moment for that A zone to be collected, but they got to neutralize this one fast. Snowman's going to look for some spawn kills there. He's going to be cut down before really any serious damage is done. It's 14 playing 17, so still Panthers, if they slow this one down, they still have 36 seconds to get this last segment, and they have a life advantage by 3, so they're feeling good right now inside of this round. The only issue is this A zone just is not being captured. Every single time they try to get this third tick, somebody goes big from Eagles CoD.
Oh, I have some things to say about this, but I won't right now. Still a lot of CoD to be played left in this round. Snowman going to look to push out here. Left corner challenge. Relations walks away with 1. 2-1 for FIU as they get back into middle map. Glee should have 1 through the middle doorway here unless Sketchy's able to read this out, and he won't. Slide challenge in. 2 players good. Everybody on the zone, and the A site is secured. So 10 versus 6, 4 lives of separation. Eagles CoD need to be careful. This is still a very winnable round if you are the defense.
It is, and segments are tied right now. So no respawns for ESU. Will's going to get caught there. Relations with a big win. Still holding some forward pressure onto this B zone, and now only 3 lives left for these Eagles players. That's a big nade coming up from Snowman, and they're going to catch out 3 as well. So now down to 5 lives for FIU Panthers. 51 seconds. Both teams have a good shot at winning this round.
You also had a good read on where that final player was from FIU. Could be inside a middle map. Graffiti plays his life inside of mid. Might have another teammate there for help. The answer is no, though. 2 versus 4. Sketchy and Snowman, the last 2 alive. 2 players now pushing in from the vault. Clock not stalled out just yet. Nobody on the B zone. Sketchy will play all the way deep. Snaps back in towards the vault. Can't find it. Snowman, last one alive. Knows that he is inside of top art. Challenge out onto Glee. Is able to get it. Tons of time to play with here. He doesn't even need to challenge this yet. Just hold your pregame, get back up to 100 HP, and then try to play it again.
Mickey's got the cross. You find the one. You don't have the read though, and where the second is, and Mickey saves the day for FIU. Playing that off angle. An unreadable situation for Snowman inside of Arties. Does his best to make it a one-on-one, but I mean, the mountain was just too tall to climb there, and there's a lot that goes wrong if your Eagles caught. I mean, you're hoping that Graffiti on that pressure through mid finds more than one kill, maybe cuts it down to a 2v3, but only able to find the one, chokes the second kill, and I don't know what Sketchy thought he was doing, sliding out into the street in the middle of the open there for everybody of FIU to see, but he leaves Snowman kind of high and dry in that 1v3, and I mean, Snowman does his best, but that is just a troublesome round again from Eagles CoD to just choke at the finish line.
I think he was just trying to catch a timing. That's all he was trying to do. He just was like, hey, this is pretty much an unwinnable round. We need to try and go, but I just think it was all timing related. Relations slides up close. 3 players from Eagles CoD go down. Last one up top is going to be Graffiti. Flop in the zone, stall the clock out. This is going to spawn everybody from Eagles close, so they should be able to get on A here. Would love to see maybe a stack, and then that other player go up towards top cat, and it looks like that's what's going to happen. 2 players on the zone. Snowman looking towards the right side, cuts down 1 second. One challenges in from you and gets caught off guard. Last one alive here now for the side of FIU, all the way up on the opposite side of the map by Pool. He's just trying to catch somebody off the spawn right now. He's honestly kind of useless.
Yeah, he's not doing anything really to assist the rest of his team. Will does a good job at picking up the flank there as well. Now hopping in. Will pushes forward outside of the lobby, and the kills just continuing to flow for GSU. Finally, Snapple's going to make a play, and at least saves the day for the moment at this A zone. Going to allow your respawning teammates a chance to get back over towards and maybe pick up the rest, but it's still a little bit of a life lead for GSU. You have Graffiti working forward, keeping a lot of attention towards himself, and 46 seconds to collect 3/4 of this A zone. So still, GSU have a chance at winning this one, and you can see a couple players even overextending through with the pool, see if they can flip this map towards the bottom side.
3 players for Pool. Look, the Sketchy has a flank through the middle of the map. Everybody trying to collapse on this A site. Snap back around up towards top is good. Slide challenge in. Will's no Glee is here. He'll be able to find the kill and walk away with it. Up top, Graffiti gonna get shot from an FIU player. Panthers now trying to push out the spawn side. Defense holding strong here. Snapple will snap once again as he looks for the final player coming through. He's got one more to take care of, who's out towards the B street. They don't recognize him coming off the spawn just yet. Can't turn around in time. 12 seconds. They've got a foot race to try and get out of spawn. Might be able to get inside of A. Red out. Mayo gonna try and push his way forward, but I mean, realistically speaking, with 5 seconds left, it's just gonna be everybody trying to funnel all together into the same spot, and it's Snowman and Sketchy pair for 2. You might be able to find the last one, but you can't Miggy there. Still players Graffiti. They get the A zone. Extra minute added. 8 versus 7.
Snowman saves the rounds, gets that last tick, and now lives advantage for Eagles CoD Gold. 2 lives there. Graffiti going to get the overextension over towards P4, so that off angle looking to cut off some of the reinforcements over towards this B zone. Hope that your teammates win the fight to the inside. It's 3 down again. The stack is in. Snapple gets caught jumping out of Art, and the fumble on the end zone. FIU crumbling in the 3rd round, and Eagles CoD hold on. 0 to 100, Corn. 0 to 100.
All right. I was sitting there. I'm like, all right, this round's pretty much over. I mean, maybe they'll get one off a spawn. They'll be able to break out of it. No, it was... After the Snapple play, I thought it was GG's. I thought he got the last one. I was like, okay, pops out, gets the 3rd. There's only one over by B Street. They should be able to clean him up if they start pushing out by Palms. You know, everybody's just kind of watching where we need to go. No, it was completely different. Yeah, no, that flipped around very fast. 0 to 100. Great and apt description of that. We'll go back to an offense here now for FIU. We'll see if they have learned their lesson from round 1. Maybe they decide to stack a point here.
I mean, GSU did a great job on defense, making sure that this A zone took a while to get captured, and you had some good catwalk control for the most part, but I mean, at the end, I think FIU just... They garnered a big enough life lead, and you had a couple of misplays from individuals through mid towards the end that you just fumbled at the end, and it was just no ice in that last defense. So you're looking at Eagles CoD to hopefully keep this relatively low in terms of tiers captured for FIU, and hope that maybe you get a defense round 5. But in doing so, I think you have to I'm pretty sure you have to hold them to maybe 2-3 segments. Yeah, it looks there. You got to hold them to at least 2 segments.
Just another good clear from Eagles CoD to be able to break back onto his own. They take their time. They're calculated with their breaks back onto a site, specifically on the defensive end. Sure, they want a bully ball bang out on that A zone last time to extend the round a bit further in their advantage. But here on the defense, they're once again pushed up in the spawn side. Snowman continues his reign of terror. 2-2 we go, splitting through the middle of the map. Graffiti will hop on down. 5 bullets left to his name and escapes into the vault. Needs the reload. Safe harbor with the rest of the team out by B. Relations pushes in, gets one from inside of U. Second tick of progress should be captured today, and it will be. 2 players now stacking on the point. Just trying to hold the front line is going to be Relations. But now Miggy, he will slide to the slide door. Flee. 2. Everybody flying dead. Eagles CoD. Lose the A zone.
Yeah, and right there, that should be enough to solidify yourself defense round 5. If it goes there, you're already over towards B, and that first segment is being worked on. Nade's going to miss. The stun's in. The contest for the meantime, but you're still losing fights. Snowman and Will, he's going to battle some back, but you need to win the fight on the inside of the zone. Relations, he's going to find 3, push forward, but Snowman catches him on the drop down. That first segment's in towards B right now. If you're Eagles CoD, you just need to hold this. You can't get that defense round 5. You just need a win.
That's a hard slide out there, and Glee turns back around to Graffiti, who's trying to slide out from Vault. So 16 versus 11. Miggy there for a few. Tries to push his way forward. Snapple, long-range shots, helps out from Relations. Will still here for 2. They're coming off spawn, but they have no idea that Snapple's below Art. Oh, shaky shots with the pistol. It's a grenade kill from Snowman that finds Relations. 2 versus 2 on the point. 2 ticks of progress on B. Things slowed down to a pause for a moment as players still falling across the board. Glee out by Palms was able to push his way forward. Help is there, but now from the right side of the map, you need to be careful. They're trying to make the flank once again.
3 life advantage for FIU. Minute 12 to make this happen. Only 1 segment needed. This could be some TDM for FIU. They just need to catch Will's flanks every single time this guy's looking for a route and shooting you in the back. So somebody needs to turn around and pick that up. Still, though, 6 lives playing 9. Snapple underneath Art. This could be it. This could be the dagger.
They got the flank player, though, so his Will falls. Now it's going to be everybody on the B zone. 2 players are stacked on it. Bad shot. Sketchy finds one, but it's a 3 versus 7. Halfway through the last tick of progress on the B zone. Glee's able to find one who tries out. Now it's down to Graffiti, who I thought touched the zone. Wasn't able to get on it. So we'll go to a round 5. Excuse me, no, FIU. Going to take it. I thought that was 2-2.
Yeah, it is FIU barely scraping away with that one. I will say it's a win on control, but that was all because of your gun skill for the most part. I feel like the objective through the first 2 rounds was a little bit shaky on both teams. And then, round number 3, Eagles CoD goes absolutely huge at the finish line to steal away that one and prolong it to a 4th one. But, FIU, their gunny's good. They pick up enough kills to keep them ahead, and you even saw that there was a lot of aggression through the B zone to take bottom Art control, for some of those Eagles CoD players to have to walk into what is a very tough off angle to fight. But Will does his best to run some routes and hop some flanks and try to keep them off of B for the long time, but it just felt like the Panthers were mostly bleeding you out for lives every single time they were on offense.
Yeah, a lot of it just came down to slaying. Panthers just had it for the majority of the time. Like, Eagles were able to bounce back a few times, and there were a good, couple sequences where they had the ability to put themselves with a buffer in between the Panthers. But I think for the most part, when we saw who was getting up the map and who was able to disrupt the other side the best, FIU clearly was at the top level of that. That last round on the offensive attempt, bar any time that Eagles were just coming off a spawn, somebody from FIU was pushed directly under Art, right? They had either a bottom Art control, they were playing right outside of it, they were catching players every single time. I don't think we swapped to a cam once where unless it was a 4 down from FIU where there wasn't somebody pushed up. Even in the moment where they had the A zone captured and they were trying to push out towards B, they got behind over through the pool side. They pushed 2 through the backside of P4, and then instead of pushing all the way into the spawn side and disrupting that and then pushing them super far out, they forced them to spawn right behind Statue. They sit right in front of Art, wait for those players to come back out, and they just continued to let that happen over and over and over again. Give credit to Will. Those flanks did work out for a good amount of time, but the problem is is when the other 3 players from FIU are all pushing up the map, winning the gunfights on the opposite side, and Will is still playing back, waiting for somebody to come off of spawn to try and chow him. If he then isn't able to find one and has to push back, they know somebody's flanking, so they know where the last player is going to be. If they get 2 down, all they have to do is split their attention 2 different ways or stack the point. They know Will's going to come out of hiding. They're going to be able to cut him down. So that's where he just needs to recognize that, say, hey, I'm in the back line. Sure, this is a good play for the moment, but then make that wrap into middle map or try to get back to the rest of your team and then help them out, or just get killed quicker so we can get respawned and help us teammates that way.
And you know, it's a very different game. I'd say if you had somebody on the defense there for GSU, communicate that, hey, they could be bottom art. Make sure you watch out for that. You pick up that player. It's a different game for GSU. That was as tight as could be throughout all 4 rounds of the control. I'd say that FIU, yes, they win it, but I'm not feeling good for a win like that. You go into the vault hardpoint next, and this is back to where Eagles CoD just seem to be falling behind in the respawns a little bit. Slaying is definitely an issue for some of the players, but I think when you look at, you know, the fundamentals that we see from Will, trying to hit those flanks, a lot of catwalk control coming out from, I'd say, your ARs there. Sketchy doing a good job at, you know, making big plays in those big moments, and Snowman is just very consistent in terms of at least being that lead slayer for GSU. Vault hardpoint, it's going to be tough if you start falling behind in these rotations here for GSU, because that's something that, you know, you were on top of inside of the skyline. You just weren't able to at least solidify holds on that skyline, losing at least the hold in the first 3, maybe 7 seconds on a couple of those hills. So you fix that issue heading into this map number 4, make it to a map number 5. The search and destroy looked great back in map number 2. And it's just going to come down to seeing if Eagles CoD can kind of triumph over what has been the plague of these respawns.
Well, hopefully you guys have gotten used to Vault at this point. 3rd time we played it straight here in this best of 5 series. Will looks to go ahead, toss a nade forward, keep those few players at bay, and it's a double kill that'll pop a Semtex right off rip. Mickey will respond, though, with a double of his own. That's going to be 4 dead immediately for the Panthers. So as they go ahead and hold down P1 in the middle of the map, Eagles CoD need to be careful because they just got flipped out immediately.
And FIU on the hard point. You see Mickey goes 3 in a row. He's going to be cut down there. Nobody getting some good time here, as you would expect, but you look at Graffiti. He's going to be the one to try to look to hit a route. Trigger Discipline to get in behind. Relation's going to get shot in the back, and Graffiti's going to turn that into 2. So you remove the pressure from the hill. Now Graffiti's going to be looking towards the players to see if he can flip this one out. He finds 3 in a row. You get this last one, Glee, in the back, and that is going to set yourself up for a good rotation to P2.
You got information. You got 3 players who can push it out. And unfortunately, Glee's looking the wrong way. He's got 2 players looking to challenge in from the left side. Shaky shots at first from Sketchy. Thought maybe he would give Glee an opportunity to turn around on it. But instead, will look inside of P2 to the front end. They know that somebody's in the backside. Spawn. Sketchy's going to get caught out from 2. And now it's going to be a backhand hit. 2 versus 2. Pinch from the front and the back. Relations is going to be able to pop a double. Oh my God! Pulls the pistol out on the swap. Gets 3. It's 4 in a row for himself. FIU break with really no pushback.
That's way too easy for FIU to get a break there. I mean, everybody loses their one-on-one for Eagles CoD, and you're forced up the respawns towards the front side of P2, and you're gonna have to break through catwalk, which is not easy. Snowman on the slide, though, finds a second one to break back in. It's gonna be Miggy off the respawn to at least release some of that pressure from the inside of that hill, but you see FIU chalk that up. There's only 11 seconds left. They want to get this set up over towards P3, and, well, he's looking to beat them out here, see if he can draw some attention. Maybe sneak in the back, though. It's a good kill from Relations. It's going to keep those eyes forward for FIU.
Really wish Will would have had some trigger discipline there. Could have made a really nice play through the back end. Tried to get through Statue. Maybe disrupt the P4 top hold over by top art. They did with Snapples in the corner. They don't recognize it. Swaps to the pistol. That was a bit of an over-aggressive challenge there for the moment. Snowman will make it stick. They'll have top art control, but the spawns are still going to be close from FIU. Miggy pushes his way up. They should have firm P3 control right now. They're going to have to fight this to the front. Everybody's just dropping for Eagles.
Yeah, the only person you really have here for GSU is Snowman inside the top of art, but Glee's here to trade it out, and that has some good time from FIU to just continue to hold this 20-point lead that they got off that first hill P1. So spawns all over the place, very chaotic here in P3, nobody fully controlling those back P4 spawns for the most part until now. You see the rotations coming in. Sketchy's gonna lose his fight towards art, and you see those 2 arrows on FIU now backing up to see if you can block off the onslaught that's coming for GSU.
Hasn't been too much uncontested time So that game clock's still relatively high for the early moments inside of map 1, or excuse me, inside of the first rotation. As Graffiti's just looking to slide back and forth in you. Get an idea of where these players are going to be. That stun should be able to check one. Gets good timing. Recognizes, hey, we can pitch this player over by the pool side. Cuts him out of the corner. And this is going to give them the green light to start making their way up that south side of the map. So in towards the hill. Graffiti, slide challenge, right side corner. Not going to be able to make it stick. Miggy gets traded immediately, though, as Snowmane's through the back. Has 2 players here. And they're going to have a spawn in the back. That's unfortunate there as Glee's able to rip them both. So they took a lot of time to set up that push through the pool, and unfortunately doesn't pan out for him as FIU spawn close.
It's very similar to the Skyline. I mean, just the Panthers are so much better at locking down this time, getting 20, maybe 15, just slowly chipping away at, you know, what is Eagles God trying to come back at this one, keeping themselves at an advantageous position and heading into the second set of rotations. I mean, for the most part, FIU getting good chunks of time, up 85 to 54. First ones to P1 again. They got about 15, 20 seconds from this one back in the first set of rotations and held the back P2 spawns for majority of that time. So you're looking to see if FIU can do it again. And if Snapple's shooting like that, he's got a Jackal now. There's no doubt in my mind they can keep it locked down.
Yeah, the reaction time to just pull the trigger down on that FIU rotation snap back to the left was quite sexy, if I must say myself. But 30-point lead for FIU starting to grow once again as they have P1 locked down. Hard gunfight for Will there. Doesn't expect the double challenge. Almost lined up, though. So FIU will remain on top of the trade battle for the moment. Graffiti will slide in to help out Snowmane. And as they hold P1 uncontested at the moment, they're going to try and slide out for these P2 spawns. They've tried to heavy press this the last time. Didn't necessarily work out for them the best way. It was kind of a flip toss-up between the P2 hold. But, I mean, for the most part, you're okay with walking away with this P1 time. Just trying to keep this game as close as it was. FIU had a 60-point margin pretty much the entirety of P1.
I hope you can get a break fast in P2 as well. Big pick up there onto Miggy. Graffiti's going to take relations as well. So that's some pressure now into the player inside the hard point. They still get the spawns there, though. So FIU will have a chance to fight this one out. Miggy finds the kill into Will inside the hard point. So still collecting time here as FIU finally those spawns flip out. They do get the player outside the hill. 4 go down. Eagles got, I got a little scared there for a second, Corn. I thought FIU got blessed.
I did too, but Season 2 comes with good tidings for both teams. So Eagles got to hold on for the moment. 20 points the deficit at the moment, slowly encroaching on that lead that FIU has. They don't necessarily watch that right side pinch, but it doesn't matter as Graffiti snaps up, pops 1 and 2. Sketchy knows where the last player is inside of middle map. They're somehow going to spawn in the back once again. I don't know if that's because Eagles COD were just trying to push up the map to try and flip the P4. They're going to have no idea that they're in the back, though.
That is mostly due to probably Will being inside of Art, but those spawns looking a little bit wacky right now as Season 2 comes out. Day 1. So, tie game heading into P3. What a way for GSU to actually bring things back. Finally getting a good chunk of time on one of these hard points. And now they have themselves a chance at sneaking away with this vault if they can maybe start to string together a couple more hills heading into what is a money hill on P4. If they can lock down these back art spawns, which, to be honest, Will has been trying to do for basically majority of this game. And this is where we can see GSU to start to turn things around. But FIU from the front, they find the break. They're holding on to the hill, and they're keeping their lead.
Snap challenge, relations, spots another one on the black Jeep. Good positioning here for FIU.
Bonds.
As they've locked the entire left side of the map down. Eagles will be back over by ammo. They're going to be spawning by P2. Sketchy needs to play his life in the back here, but he needs to be careful. He's got 2 players pushing on out. Shots on the Glee were good at first, but he should get caught up from behind, and he will. Everybody collapses on that last player there. It's still everybody trying to push in from Eagles COD. I like that they made it mixy, but there's still 2 players here. 2 versus 2 for the back spawn. And all the way across the map, FIU go. So as Glee's now going to have to sprint his way back forward. Eagles COD, they break it all the way through PF. They say, hey, we'll take that. We'll go straight through the back. We'll knock it down. And now they have an opportunity to hold a money hill.
I don't know what's going on right now, Alex, but spawns are seeming to be all over the place on Vault for this day. But FIU get boxed out again. 40 seconds on P4. You got Graffiti watching the cross through mid. He's going to be sitting line, see if he can pick up a couple kills, but he doesn't find the kill onto Miggy. And now numbers for the Panthers to see if they can get through. Sketchy's going to line up 3 kills. He's got 4 in a row. And a pickup from Will is going to be 4 down. 20 seconds left. FIU got to count their chickens here. Probably give this up and start looking at P1 to see if they can climb back from this deficit.
P2 was a momentum swing. P3 just kind of went for either side. It was a 50-50 toss uphill, just a couple scraps for each team to get. But P4, after a breakthrough P3 at the very beginning of time, FIU lost out. Eagles CoD capitalized. And now for Southern Georgia, you have an opportunity to be able to take this game over. Graffiti on the top end, tries to snap to the second, doesn't realize that Miggy's also there for a tag team, but Miggy's the last one alive. He needs to make the heroic play by himself, and he will. So the solo venture works out for the moment. He needs teammates to help him out over the top, though. Will is looking for the collapse.
Here comes Will. He's shut down. 3 players in for the Panthers. As 37 seconds here, it's going to be enough to flip this lead. And Graffiti a little lost in the sauce there. So 3 down. Spawn still back P2 for Georgia Southern. They're going to be able to at least hold the better side of this map for the P2 rotation. But you can see that they're very headstrong on not letting this time go over towards FIU Panthers. And it looks like it blows up in their face for the most part. You still get the spawns in the back. You're going to be able to fight for this one. Relations gets cut down. You need a couple more kills of the exits here if you're Eagles CoD. You find them. It's a tie game heading towards P2, Corn. And Georgia Southern going to be the first ones to be able to set up here.
Couldn't ask for a much better game 4 and a hard point that Eagles CoD desperately needed to prove themselves on. Relations will be out over towards Palm side. Making the push towards the back end, cut down by Snowman on the cross, but it's a flank in from Miggy that might be able to display trouble here. And through the front door, Will be laying down. Tries to pop up on towards the second over by Palms, and he's stuck in a wild spot by himself. He'll still be able to walk away with a few kills, but there's too many bodies here from the Panthers. They'll break in through the back.
Only 15-second lead for Georgia Southern, so FIU looking to flip this one here. And now Snapple inside the hill, soaking it up. Miggy towards Catwalk, watching for those players crossing inside pool. Make sure you can tag them up, damage them as they're trying to get towards this hard point. Make it a little bit harder and easier for your teammates to pick up those kills when they approach 3 down again, looking for Fours Relations. And this is where Eagles CoD need to give this one up and rotate.
It looks like they will. The last time they tried to hold on to P3, FIU were able to make the most of it. Once again, a 20-point advantage to the Panthers. Eagles CoD always fighting for the back end of these hard points. Trying to get inside a middle map, make it a bit mixier. Will on 3 in a row. Slides back to the safe harbor of his teammates. 2 players from FIU looking to make the push through middle map. Relations on a flank in through Vault will be able to clear the time out, so it's uncontested at the moment. 45 seconds left. Tons of time to garner. Eagles CoD will get back inside. They now know everybody's spawning over by ammo. They've got the last player inside of Vault, but Snapple finds 2 out towards the left-hand side. Sketchy will try to retaliate. 3-2, the FIU Panthers go. They get back inside the hill.
Relations is an absolute animal, coming away with so many wins here. Now inside the hill, looking to hold on. Graffiti down low, looking to be the difference maker. Not enough time here to win off of P3, so FIU Panthers going to have to keep their heads on a swivel for this P4 rotation. You can see that Snapple's the one looking to see if he can dethrone Snowman from that top art position, and immediately you see the reaction from GSU to try to get him away from this, though Snapple finds a second one. You see the players from FIU now in the rotation to P4, and it's Will on an island to hold them back.
Oh, but he's here, and he throws out the util, tries to snap to the second, can't make it stick. 227, 210. From the front, Eagles CoD are going to have to fly. Spawns up close over by Vault. And now it's just a slow roast of trying to get and break out of you. Sketchy tries to break in, looks to the left-hand corner, took a 50-50 gunfight, doesn't pan out. 5 HP left from Will, has to deal with a few more players trying to corral him from the outside. 8 seconds left. Snowman once again might have to have the heroic moment here. 4 seconds to try and break across through. Snapple holds the cross. Are they going to be able to get inside the corner? The answer is no. Side door not breached. The Panthers will hold on in a crazy map 4 hard point to be able to take the series 3-1. They'll stay undefeated on the season.
3-0 now for the FIU Panthers, taking down Georgia Southern in what is one of the most chaotic games that we've had on stream so far in the 2025 season. Both teams keeping it mixy, neither one really looking ahead of the other, just Respawn plaguing the Eagles CoD Gold team, as you can look back to the series and see that the Vault Search and Destroy the only thing to go their way in a 10-round bout. So FIU Panthers walking away with this one, Corn, and Relations becoming a sub player that I gotta be excited for throughout the rest of this 2025 season. He was having his way throughout this series, and he looks good in the respawns.
I was going to say the exact same thing. That is a name and a player I will be looking forward to watching week in and week out if FIU is back on the main broadcast. And even not, I will be interested to see how the season evolves for this Panthers roster and even the Eagles COD roster as well. Again, going back to the top of the show, you mentioned how you had talked to the team. You said they were looking to try and get better, iron out the kinks that they had inside of the close, and that's exactly what they're trying to do in this series.
Yeah.
The hard points looked better across the board for this Eagles COD roster. Sure, you're not able to take both of those respawns or really any of the respawns in this best of 5 series. However, you played them decently close. It felt like the guns were getting warmer. It's just going to come down to a few more individual plays and timings, and I think the communications could be a bit better for this Eagles COD roster. But across the board for this gold side of Georgia Southern, I do feel like they have a lot of high hopes going into the rest of the year. Sure, they're 1-2 right now, but that can change very quickly as things go forward. I said comparatively to last season, this Southeast Deep South division is not as tough or challenging for Eagles as it was last year, so they have a bit better of an opportunity to make some noise, opposed to being at that, what was it, 4-13 or 4-11 record?
Yeah, not last time through. Look, I
don't want to bring up the pain points. I don't want to, cut the paper cut any deeper, but there's still a lot of work to do there.
Yeah, and it's not quite different over towards the camp of FIU either. I mean, kind of getting to hear from them heading into the series, they were saying that they've been spending a lot of time talking over roles to play. Who's going to be looking to play OBJ, who wants to be that main AR, who's going to be really on the starting roster to begin with, as they have a 6-player roster. They have players that they can kind of move in and out of that main roster when they really need to. So there's a lot of depth towards this team, and you can really see that they're trying to find that foundation to keep themselves in good standings for the 2025 season. And hey, I mean, whatever they're doing over there, it does seem like the confidence there, and they're having a great time. 3-0 starts of the season. Corn losing only 3 maps so far as well. That's a good record if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, I don't think I would be too terribly upset if I am the Florida International University Panthers. Shout out the boys in the Sunshine State. Shout out the boys in Southern Georgia as well. Logan, I'm still not going to say it the right way, I promise you. It's just because of you.